This is amazing. This is awesome. The first of many.
Yes, yes, first of all. Welcome, pioneers, to a new video where today I'm going to be interviewing the founder of Reimagine Achievement, a learning success coach, my fellow classmate during our master's program at the University of Central Missouri, the mother of three beautiful young girls, the one and only Madalyn Allen. Madalyn, it's good to see you.
Hey, Andrew, what's going on?
Not much. I saw that on Facebook you have this new program called Reimagine Achievement, and
Yes.
I thought it'd be good to, kind of get to know what it is.
Awesome.
But first, can you kind of let all the viewers know a little bit more about you?
Yes, yes. Oh my goodness. I have been in education, I feel like forever. Either learning or in there in the trenches. I've been teaching for about 15 years in the classroom within the United States model. Um, yeah, it's been nuts. It's been I majored in English in my bachelor's program, and then of course I met you in my master's program where we majored in teaching English as a second language, and so that opened up a ton of doors and a ton of opportunities to work with ESL and EFL students. We have tons of ESL kids right here in the United States, and so at one point I actually worked at a school that was designated, ESL. All the kids in the city were actually bused to this school if they were identified as an ESL learner. And so I work with all of those kids. And so it's been a crazy ride. Right now, in the public school setting, I'm working with middle school students, eighth graders, teaching them English, reading, instruction, things of that nature. But this is my last year doing that because I am doing Reimagine Achievement full time. Yay! Yeah. So I'm actually doing that full time in about a week and a half. But it's just been crazy. I've been on that VIP kid train. Like I've worked with those students. Data ABC, I worked with them for a while. Tutor ABC. What else was it? Go Kid. I worked for Go Kid, and I actually became a new teacher trainer for Go Kid, which was an amazing experience because it gave me an opportunity to not only work with my ESL and EFL students, but to actually train teachers on how to effectively do this online, right? Because this is how we connect with our students around the world. Online is the key. So there's a way to do it correctly. And as the pandemic taught us, there's a way to do it incorrectly. And so that was really neat that I got to share my expertise with teachers from around the world on how to do it effectively. But yeah, that's what I've been doing. I mean, that's me in a nutshell. I'm an educator, just like you, Andrew, through and through. I'm an educator now, coach, now reading coach, but educator in my heart.
Yes, I think once you get that itch to teach, it's very
Yeah.
difficult to move away from it.
Yeah, it's a calling. Like you can't get away from it. It's like you're in a gang. You get jumped into a gang and you're like, I don't think I can get out of this. And when you're meant to be there, it's like it works anyway. And I feel like people like us, we're meant to be here. It's just a matter of where do we fit? Like where can we be the most effective? I think that's the struggle for us as educators. Where can we be the most effective? Because we get into these situations, and let's be honest, we get into these situations where we're thrown in ineffective curriculum. And, for all the different political reasons, we're forced to teach it. And, we're pouring it out to students when in reality, we're experts, we're qualified, we're certified. We know what kids need. A kid can walk into our room and we know exactly what they need. But it's just a matter of, okay, am I allowed to be effective or am I free, to be effective and to really help this kid or adult, because we work with adults too, but to help them where they need it. So
So yeah, I liked how you mentioned that like there are different types of teachers
Yes,
because I think it's important for us to kind of, be the type of teacher we want to be instead of being forced
absolutely.
to be something else.
Yes,
And you recently became a certified learning success coach.
yes, yes.
So what was the process like of doing that?
Okay, well, um, what's happened was I came into contact with the founder of Math Codes and Success Codes. Okay, and so her name is Kohila Sivas. What she does, or what she did, was she cracked the code. She cracked the code for how to learn math without the stress. And one thing that our kids are facing, our students are facing, whether we work with kids or adults, they are stressing out. Okay. They're stressing out about how to read well, how to write well, um, how to learn the English grammar, morphology, syntax, just all of those things. It can be very, very stressful because, as you know, learning a language, I don't care what language it is, it can be stressful, right? And so I was attracted to the program because she had cracked this code. Not only was she teaching her kids how to do math, but she had cracked the code for diminishing the stress levels so that her students were free to learn math, free to believe that they could do it. And so basically what I did was I took her program. I took the nuggets, the gold nuggets out of her program. And I'm trying to say this without giving you an hour-long talk on brain research because I mean it's a lot, okay? But I took her methodology and I added my Reimagine reading system to that to help my students not only de-stress, but as they're de-stressing, I'm like throwing all of these reading skills at them in an amazing way. And yes, that's how I became a certified learning success coach. I received this certification through Kohila as I went through her program. Her program is amazing, by the way. But I went through her program to receive that certification because that's what I wanted to be. That's the kind of teacher I wanted to be. I didn't want to be um, stuck in a classroom, forced to teach a curriculum that I know doesn't work. When I veer away from the curriculum a little bit and teach the kids what I know they need, getting in trouble, being called to the office. Like I didn't want that type of teaching anymore. I wanted to be a coach. And so when she offered this coaching model, I was like, game. I'm like, this is it. This is what I want to be. Teachers don't have time to teach kids anymore, to teach the adults, that they serve. There's just no time. We're running out of time. And so her model was just attractive to me. It was my way of being able to teach on my terms, and to make sure I was meeting student needs. And it's surprisingly, it's really easy to meet student needs when you do it your way. Surprisingly, it's really easy. So yeah.
Like it sounds like a really good program.
Mm-hmm.
So like when did you decide to go, full on with, this program of yours? Like
Yes.
you're teaching public school, you've done other
Mm-hmm.
jobs. Like,
Yes.
I guess I'm wondering, like, when did you decide, like, yes, this is going to be it, 100%?
Yes. Yes. I decided that Reimagine Achievement was the way to go when the pandemic hit. Okay. And then we slowly started creeping back into our classrooms. Our schedules had changed. Instead of just everybody at the same time, it became, in the United States, it became like an A day schedule, B day schedule. At first, some of the kids were coming in for part of the week, and then they were going home for the rest of the week. And then other kids were coming in for the rest of the week, and then they were going home, but the other kids came back. And so I don't really think, at least as the United States is concerned, I don't really think we got it. Like, I think that we were just like running around like chickens, with our heads cut off, and we are just trying to figure out how to make this work. And in the meantime, while we were trying to figure it out, by the way, I don't think we figured it out, but while we were trying to figure it out, kids were falling behind. Like deficits were becoming greater and bigger. And so we get back into the classroom full time. Things become normal again, as much as they could be considered normal. Things become normal, and all of us teachers realize, oh my goodness, these kids, oh my goodness, they can't read. Like these kids cannot read. And so we're looking back and we're like, oh my goodness, they can't read because they miss the vital, grammar instruction that you need in middle school. They can't read because they miss the foundations of phonics and phonemic awareness. And so we know why they can't read, but it's just, I guess the people above us, they just kind of wanted to act like this didn't happen. Keep teaching the way you've always done it. Here, take this eighth grade curriculum and teach it to this eighth grader like they didn't just miss the last 2 years of instruction, like they didn't just miss the last 2 years of middle school. Just teach it. You better teach it this way or you're going to be in trouble, big trouble. And so I was like, it's time to step out of the classroom and help these parents. I was serving so many parents on the side, and they were, like I said, they were just in tears. They were like, I don't know what to do. My child is bringing home these bad grades, or worse, my child is bringing home these good grades, because there was this big push to give them grades. Like, oh, just be careful how you understand. We've been through a pandemic. Don't give them the terrible grades. And so they were receiving A's. Their child was receiving all A's, and then a big test comes and they completely fail it. Mm-hmm. And this test is going to hold them back in some way from moving forward. And so just consoling so many parents and kids aside from the classroom, I was like, it's time to step out and do things differently. It's time to help, and it's time to be more effective, if that makes any sense. It's time to really be that educator that I was called to be, and the best way that I could do it was through coaching. Mm-hmm. Because like I said, teachers don't have time. I don't really call myself a tutor, because a lot of tutors that I know in the United States, they provide Band-Aid solutions to kids. Like, okay, so you're doing bad in grammar. I'm going to help you with your grammar homework, without ever going beneath the surface to figure out why you're doing bad in grammar. What did you miss that's making you respond to the English grammar in this way? That's what I do as a coach. I go beneath the surface and I'm like, okay, what happened here? And so I assess. I'm just constantly assessing and evaluating my students to see what happened. That evaluation can come through me talking to them about their experiences in the classroom. It can come through us actually doing activities together, so I can identify deficits. I mean, it comes in a variety of ways, but that's what I do as a coach. I go beneath the surface and I'm like, okay, what happened to make you read like this? What happened to make you write like this? That's what I do, and I attack the problem. Like, I'm all about solutions. I want to know what happened. I don't want to just give you a whole curriculum and 75% of it, but the 25% of it that you're struggling with, like that's what we need to be focusing on. So yes, it's a rewarding work, because I'm just focusing on problems and finding the solutions to those problems. Whereas in the classroom, educators are focusing on, okay, so I've got this whole curriculum here that I got to teach the kids. Chapter 1, like, it's like, I don't have to do that. I assess them, I figure out what their needs are, and we go all in. There's no commitment to this policy or to this curriculum. But my only commitment is to the student that I'm serving at the time. That's it.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of the same issues that you've stated. It's the same in Korea.
Yeah.
At the academies that I've seen and worked at, the parents want all of their children to move forward, regardless of their ability. You can't go backwards and relearn. You can't, focus on the needs. It's all about, the next step and moving on.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's where parents need education. Like, they need to know how their child learns. And I think that's the problem. A lot of parents they just don't know. Like, they don't know how this thing works. Mm-hmm. They know they want their kids to succeed. They're just not exactly sure how to make their kids succeed. And so they send them to these schools and they entrust their kids to these educators and to these systems and to these academies and to these schools without really understanding some of the failures within the system, like some of the systemic failures there. And so a lot of them are disillusioned when they find out that their child does have a problem. Like, for example, a lot of the kids I serve, like they're dealing with dyslexia. Okay. Not just Americans have dyslexia. People all over the world have dyslexia, but and they need certain therapies. They need to be instructed in a certain type of way. And if you ignore the fact that they're dealing with dyslexia, and just and give them the instruction the regular way, sit down, be still, listen, your child just isn't going to be successful. And so there's a lot of education that needs to go into not only our students and teaching them how they process information and how they learn, but teaching the parents how this thing works as well, like how education happens. So yeah. Excuse me.
I like how you mentioned that because I was looking at your website, Reimagine Achievement.
Reimagine Achievement. Okay.
I saw that you have like a booking process.
Yes, I do.
For the parents. They set up an appointment.
Mm-hmm.
Can you explain like that process that the parents
Yes. And see, I've had parents who have tried to skip over this process and not do it. So I'm glad you asked me this question. I don't take clients who skip over this process. I just don't. Okay. And there's a reason for that. When I'm approached by a potential client or a parent who's like, look, my child needs help. I don't know exactly, what happened, but I know they need help. And it's not always kids. Sometimes it's, they are adults who approach me and they need help. But the reason why I force them into a discovery call, I call it a discovery call, but it's really like a Zoom meeting where I'm meeting with the parents involved with the child and the child, himself or herself, is because I need to meet them and I need to get to the core of what's going on. Okay. I don't want to ever accept a dime for helping a student that I feel like I can't help. Okay. And there's all types of situations and circumstances that, will prevent me from helping a child. Okay. One thing is maybe they just don't need my service. Maybe they don't need intense coaching. Maybe they just need a Band-Aid solution. Maybe they just need a tutor to come in and to hold them accountable to doing their work. Okay. For me, I work specifically with students who are dealing with reading issues that go beyond the surface level. Okay. If you just need a whooping, like because you won't do your homework, then maybe a tutor is best for you. But I work with students with specific deficits, and I work to bring the parents results. Okay. And so I meet the student and I meet the parents, and I just want to know whether we're a good fit. If we're not a good fit, I'm not interested, in working with you. I mean, I don't mean to be like rude about it, but it's like, I want to make sure that you feel like I'm a good fit for your child. I want to make sure that I know that I can help your child succeed in the amount of days that that I'm saying your child can experience success in. And if I don't sense that, if I don't feel that, we're not going forward. Like, we're just not. I don't believe in wasting people's money or time, because I hate when people waste my money and my time. So it's just, we have to get on a call. So you know me, I know you, and we can talk about how we can fix these underlying problems, if that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah, I completely agree. So the question now is, you have a 90-day guarantee.
90-day guarantee.
Like,
90 days success achievement.
How did you choose like 90 days? Like,
well,
is that enough time for?
Yes, yeah. It actually is, Andrew. No, research shows that anybody can develop a habit. Like, things can become habitual within 21 days, just in doing it consistently in 21 days. And so for me, with reading and some of the issues that kids, and adults experience with reading who are struggling, I just added on those days. I said 90 days, I'm going to give you results. And this is why I can guarantee it. Okay. Because after I meet with the parent and the child, we do a series of days where I work with the child specifically to figure out what their issues are. Okay, that's first. First off, I'm going to figure out what your child's issues are, and then I'm going to give you a recommendation. Okay, here's the recommendation for coaching. Here's what I need to do to get your child or you to where you need to be in the next 90 days. Like this is the plan. This is what I'm going to do. Okay, and that's why I can offer that 90-day guarantee, because your results are based off of my recommendation. Now, if I give you a recommendation and you're like, forget your recommendation, that's trash. Like if I say, okay, I need to meet with your child no less than twice a week, for us to be able to reach these goals. And you say, they've got violin practice. Let's make it once a week. Well, guess what? I can't help you. Like, I can't help you because I'm a reading specialist. I know how this works. I know what I need to do to make sure that your child or you receive the support that you need in time for this assessment, or to give your child the leverage that they need to be successful in the classroom and beyond. Like, we know how to do this. And so if you reject that recommendation, then it's like, oh, well, guess what? It's not going to happen for you in 90 days, maybe 180 days, maybe, something to that effect. But yeah, it can happen in 90 days. It can with my recommendations and what I pour into my students. It's not just, I guess I want to say, I don't treat my clients like an hourly commitment. And that's something that I feel like a lot of the conglomerate ESL companies did. When, I had like 1 million students. There was no way I could even think about a child outside of that hour that I work with them, or I'm sorry, 25 minutes that I work with them. It just wasn't happening. Okay. As a success coach, I'm constantly thinking about these kids or my clients. Like, it's like they take up real estate in my head. And that's why I only take a certain amount of students, because they do take up real estate in my head. I'm constantly thinking about what I can do as a coach to make them successful. It's like private coaching in like baseball, for example. Let's say, baseball. And like, if you have a coach, that's completely different from just being out on the street and playing baseball. That is completely different. A coach like watches your every move and figures out how to, okay, don't do it like this. Lift up your elbow a little bit, lift it a little higher. Okay, hit the ball like this. No, not like that. Go down a little bit. It's a coach is different. And so that's why I can offer a guarantee, because I'm a coach. I'm not just a teacher who has all of these 30 kids in the classroom or 100 kids in a classroom, and I'm just feeding them information. I'm a coach. I'm looking at your child's or your, every move. I'm figuring out what you're doing, where, I'm reassessing. I'm like, it just works. I don't know why it works. It just does. It just does.
Yeah. Well, I had a personal trainer at the gym, and like, it's I feel like it's similar to that type of experience where they're messaging you like, oh, are you eating the right foods? They're messaging you, did you exercise? Did you follow the routines? And
it's, literally, I'm available to my students. This is essentially what they do. Like, I'm available to my students all day. Like, I am theirs. Like, I am there. It's like they are my kids, really. Like, even if they're grown, I know they don't want me to say that, but they are. I become like their mom almost. And I'm like, look, we got to do this. We got to do this. We got to do that. They have access to me all day long. And so even though I may actually provide instruction at certain times of, certain days, it's like they are mine. I am theirs. And so we work together to ensure success. It's not like there's no there's no wasted time, I guess. There's no wasted time. It's like, here's the problem. Here's what we're going to fix. Here's how we're going to fix it. And just imagine if every child received that. Every child had a personal coach that could, stand alongside them while they were learning in a traditional classroom setting and look over their shoulder and say, no, that's not right. Fix that. Go, wait, hold on. Why did you do this? Why? No, let's fix that. No, this is like, just imagine if every kid had that, how amazing, the world would be, and how smart everybody would be, and the technology, we would probably be living on, like, staying on the moon, like hotels on the moon, just because all the kids would be just so smart. It's just amazing. I love what I do because I get to do that. I have mad respect for classroom teachers. I have, because I was one. Like, I have mad respect for classroom teachers. I have mad respect for tutors who are there trying to, help kids with the homework that their teachers give them. Like, I have mad respect for that because it's all a service. It's all helping. Okay. But I do more than help. I give solutions. Like, I'm just, it's just beyond that. I will help you with your homework. Like, I can, if you give me, if you follow my protocol, like, I will, but it goes beyond that. I'm giving you assignments that are tailored to your roadmap to success, and you're doing certain things to show me that you are absorbing this information, and it's going not only into your sensory memory, but it's going from your sensory memory to your short-term memory, and then it's going from your short-term memory to your long-term memory. Like, I do that. That's what I do. That's what I focus on. Um, that's why that learning success coaching is it's a huge part of what I do, because I have to make sure that I follow brain research to ensure that the information that my kids are getting, or my big kids are getting, that is going here, but that it's not going in one ear and out the other. It's like staying up there, and it's going into their long-term memory. It's like a whole system. I'd be here all day if I explain my system. But brain research and what these scientists have been doing for years to figure this thing out, this learning thing, I don't ignore that. As a teacher, we have to ignore that because we have to do what they tell us to do. Like, I mean, it's just a reality. We have to do what people who would not step foot in the classroom tell us to do.
Right.
Whereas with me, I'm like, okay, what does research say? Okay, we're doing it that way, and that's why it works. That's why people have success in 90 days, because I'm spending all 90 days doing what works. Like, if all of our kids spend just 90 days being remediated in the areas that, where they struggle, and then they're equipped with a method, and I do teach my kids my method. They're equipped with a method for learning success. Like, yeah, it's just amazing. It's amazing. I just wish I could serve the world. I feel like every educator should be a coach, but yeah, that's between them and Kohila.
Yeah. Well, like, I'm wondering, do you teach, like, what range of students do you teach? Because, you have English native speakers, you have ESL students, you have EFL students, you have children, adults. Like, is there?
And it's crazy to say this, but I teach everybody, okay? Because this method works for everybody. This method works for 5-year-olds, okay? Wow. This method works for, I've had adults approach me, and we've been able to reach success using my methods. Because a lot of times with my younger kids, is my child is struggling with reading. We got to get this. If they don't read, they're going to be, flat failures. So I develop a plan it's really based off of the goal. Like, what is your goal for needing me as your coach? Like, what's your goal? It's all about the goal. If there's no goal, you don't need me. You need to go somewhere else. You need to keep skipping along. But with my ESL students, it's more so been like, okay, I have this big test coming up. I need to make sure that I have a command of the English grammar, that I can read these passages, that I can do this, that I can respond to these questions. So a lot of my ESL students need that support to pass the test. And it's, I don't want to say that, okay, that they don't need to learn how to read for enjoyment, but it's, like I said, it's all about the goal. What is your goal for needing coaching? And we reach the goals because that's the goal. We focus on reaching goals. So yeah, that's I don't turn anybody away that I know I can help, if that makes any sense. Mm-hmm. Like, if you tell me what your goal is, and your goal is to learn how to do the moonwalk, No, I cannot help you. I cannot moonwalk. I cannot teach you how to moonwalk. You need to go somewhere. But like, if you tell me that you have a reading need, a grammar need, a spoken English need, and I know I can reach this because I've been well trained in this area, in our, teaching English as a second language, and then also traditional English instruction, but also in brain research and the learning success codes method, and how to get that watchdog of the brain out of your way so you can actually take intellectual risks and learn how to learn. Like, I got you. I got your back.
Wow. Okay. That's actually really awesome.
Yeah, it is. And see, one thing that, and I've spoken at conferences on this, but one thing that a lot of parents don't understand, and even the kids don't understand, okay, um, is that our brain responds to threats, okay? Perceived threats. So if I feel like there's a monster underneath my bed, that doesn't mean there's a monster underneath my bed, but because I perceive that as a threat, my brain goes into like this watchdog mode, like where I can focus on anything but the monster underneath my bed. It doesn't matter that a teacher is here pouring out all of this information. Guess what? Is going in one ear and out the other because my brain is focused on that monster underneath my bed. Okay. And in the classroom, it's different issues. I'm focused on this kid who's laughing behind my back, and I think they're laughing at me. Okay. Or I'm focused on an argument I just had with my best friend, or I'm focusing in on something that took place between me and my mother or my father this morning. And it's a threat. I can't focus because my brain is focused on that, that monster underneath my bed or that issue that I'm experiencing. What I do as a coach is I show students how to refocus, okay? How to learn. That's essentially what I'm teaching them how to do. I'm teaching them not only what to learn, but how their brain processes information, how to deal with those perceived threats, how to navigate them so that your brain has a clear pathway to receive information effectively and then to feed that back out. Okay, so it's almost like how to embrace that receptive language, and then and how to express it as well, that expressive language. I just showed them how to create those pathways for success in their brain, because that's necessary to learn. You can't read anything successfully and effectively and actually comprehend it to the level that we're expecting our students to comprehend on these assessments. Like, you can't if you haven't taken charge of this. And so I teach my kids not only the skills that they need, but how to take charge of this so that your brain gives you what you need when you're on a time clock and you have to perform.
Yeah, it sounds like the like almost like the affective filter,
Yes, yes.
which is interesting because we were taught how to break through the filter,
Right.
but it sounds like you're more focused on like removing it, like allowing students to have that free access to
Right.
learning and the learning process.
Right. Because a huge problem is that um we don't have these files for learning set up in our brain.
Mhm.
Okay. It's almost like a messy desktop, so to speak. Okay. If I ask you to go on my desktop real quick and open up this file, and I have a million things on my desktop and they're scattered all over the place, and you're like, Madalyn, I don't know how to find, like, I can't find this. I teach my kids how to. We develop. First of all, we develop the files because some of the kids have no files in their brain for certain things. Like, if I'm like, okay, so what did you learn here? They're like, like, so we create files there, and then I just start putting things in the files based off of the goal of the project. Every child is a project. Every student, every client is a project. Nobody's like I said, nobody's like an hourly commitment. Everybody's a project. And so I create files in their brain based off of the project. So if your file is to pass a big test, our files are going to have to do with this test. And your brain, when you open up that file, you're going to be able to pull out a certain number of success codes. Okay, you're going to be able to pull out these codes or these hacks to be able to respond to whatever, academic situation that you're finding yourself in. So it's a whole lot, Andrew. It's like, I don't know, like I said, we could sit here and talk for like hours about this,
Right.
but
Yeah.
I know we don't have time. YouTube might cut us off.
Well, I think we have time for, one more question.
Okay.
And I just want to ask, like, do you have any like words of encouragement for, children or parents, like anything you want to say to them as we finish this interview?
Yes, yes, yes. There are kids who think that they can't do it. Like they are literally just coasting through school. They're coasting through our classes, and they have made up in their mind that there are things that they just can't do. There are things that they just can't read. Whether it's an issue with vocabulary, or oral language, or phonological awareness, phonemic awareness, just, morphology, syntax. They are convinced that they just aren't good at that they just can't do it. And it becomes our responsibility as parents to seek out those resources to ensure to break down those limiting beliefs, because those are limiting beliefs. They can do it. They just need the right coaching. They just need the right mentoring. They just need the right supports. That we have to admit that our kids, for the most part, just aren't exposed to. They're just not exposed to that one-on-one attention that they need to be successful. So if I would say anything to parents, it would be that there are solutions to the problems that your child, is experiencing. There are solutions out there. You don't have to feel like, that your child has to go through life not knowing how to do certain things. That's just unnecessary. It just is. And you don't have to buy into that limiting belief either. You don't have to believe that your child is just bad at this, or your child. No. And what we also have to do as parents, we have to stop blaming our kids, and talking down to our kids, and referring to them as lazy. You're not doing your homework. There are reasons. Every child uh who is exposed to, the classroom, they want to be successful. They want to be the one to raise their hand and say, guess what, I know the answer. Okay, but the reality is that a lot of our kids can't do that. They can't raise their hand and confidently say that they know the answer. So we have to stop blaming our kids for not knowing the answer, and we have to figure out how to get them to know the answer. Like, we have to stop focusing on the problem and give all of our attention to the solutions, because they are out there. People are ready and willing to help our kids, but we have to be the first ones to raise our hands and say, hey, I want this help. I want this support. What do I have to do to make sure that my child is successful? Or what do I have to do to make sure I'm successful? I had a woman approach me recently, and she was like, hey, I need some help with this test. Like, I cannot, like, she had these limiting beliefs that she could not pass this test. And like, she was shocked at my confidence. I'm like, yes, you can. That's dumb. Yes, you can. You can pass this test. Like, you totally can. And it was just she just didn't believe that she could. And it's not that she couldn't. It's just because she didn't have the supports in place to make sure that she could be successful, to make sure that she could pass this test. Those files had not been built in her brain. And so she just felt like all over the place and scattered and crazy. So yes, don't focus on the problems. Let's focus on the solutions. Telling yourself or your child that you're lazy, or they're lazy, or this isn't going to work, or we don't have time for that. Let's just make it work. Like, let's just do this. Let's just make it work. And that's what I do. I make it work. You can do that if you want to. You can talk down if you want to, but I don't have time for that. We're gonna make this work. So yeah.
But yeah, thank you, Madalyn, for taking the time to answer these questions about your new reading program, Reimagine Achievement.
Yes.
Like, as an English teacher, a lot of your answers resonated with me, and it's really nice to know that there is a reading program out there that
Yes.
Guarantees success, helping students become more independent readers and learners.
Yes.
I'm so excited to see your business grow, And
Yes.
for everyone who's interested in learning more about my friend Madalyn, you can visit her website, reimagineachievement.com, and book an appointment to start your child's journey towards a better learning experience.
Absolutely.
And Madalyn, you can be found on Facebook as well, right?
I can be found on Facebook. Just my, traditional Facebook account, Madalyn Allen, but also Teacher Madalyn. You can find me under Teacher Madalyn as well.
Awesome.
And LinkedIn.
Awesome. That's great. I'll have all of those links available in the description box below. And if you have, and for everyone watching, if you have any questions, feel free to message Madalyn. And she's given a lot of information now, but I'm sure there's more that you have.
It's so much, y'all. It's so much.
So, maybe we'll have another interview at the, near the end of the year, see how the program's going. But
it's going to be crazy by then. It's going to be insane because already it's like, people are like, wait, help me. So yeah, by then I may be like in a corner like this. Hopefully not though. Hopefully not.
Yeah, Madalyn, it was great to catch up, and
yes,
I think this is going to be it for now. So thanks everyone for watching this very first interview on my channel, and I hope you all have an amazing day.
Yes.
Bye.